Yo, what's going on, guys? It's Houston Sports Talk back in the video today, and I'm going to be previewing the Houston Texans season finale game for tomorrow against the Indianapolis Colts. As I'm excited for all this to be over. And to be honest with you guys, I've been waiting for maybe a month, maybe a little bit over a month for the season to be over, and I am so excited for tomorrow's game, for this season to be over, and for us to move on, whether it's from Lovie Smith as the coach, which should be, whether it's moving on and drafting a quarterback, Bryce Young or C.J. Stroud, with the number first or second overall pick. Either one we get just depends on how the Texans do tomorrow. If we win, we get the second overall pick. We lose, we get the first, which in my opinion, I really don't care about it, and I'll explain why. But I'm excited for this season to be over. I'm excited for the Texans offseason. I'm excited to put this season behind us because this has been an awful season. This has been an awful season. Neither was last year. Last year wasn't a good year. The year before that wasn't a good year. But I'm not saying next year will be, but I'm saying that the year for the Texans next year will be better than it was this year and last year. And I'm not going to say it because I'm not going to say anything until the Texans officially have a new quarterback in the 2023 draft that they select, and possibly a new head coach and a number one wide receiver one in the NFL 2023 NFL draft. I could see the Texans being better than they were in 2021 and 2022 combined. But I'm really excited for just the season to be behind us. And let's really get into this game going in tomorrow. So here is what I was talking about with the Texans, the draft situation, if they win or lose this game. So if the Texans win this game, if the Texans win this game and the Bears lose, now I'm pretty sure if the Texans win and the Bears were to win, who the Bears play the Vikings, which I don't think the Bears would beat the Vikings, then I think the Texans still get the first overall pick. I'm about 99.9% sure. Now, but if the Texans win and the Bears lose, Texans get the second, Bears get one. Both teams lose. Texans lose the Colts, Bears lose the Vikings. Texans get number one. Same thing. If both teams win, Texans still get it. Both teams lose, Texans still get it. Texans win, the Bears will get the first overall pick. To me, it really doesn't matter to me because I know the Chicago Bears are not going to be taking a quarterback with number one. The only thing that scares me is the possibility of the Bears trading the pick, which I don't think happens, but in that case, now that I'm thinking about it, now I just want us to lock it up because there's always a chance the Bears could trade the first overall pick, which I don't think will happen, but there's a chance, and that's probably maybe one of the reasons why you'd rather want the first overall pick than the second overall pick. When it comes to getting a quarterback, as there's thunder and lightning in Houston, Texas right now, I'm not. And it's raining really badly. I'm not worried about the Bears. The Bears have a star quarterback in Justin Fields. I'm not worried about the Bears stealing our quarterback. Only thing I'm worried about is possibly the Bears trading their pick to a team that does want a quarterback, which I don't think will happen. I think the Bears will keep their number one overall pick and draft whoever they draft, whether that's Will Anderson or whoever else. They have a quarterback for their future that's not going to be Bryce Young. So, yeah, let's get in this game. Texans, they face the Colts in week one. We all know how that ended. Texans, Colts, famous tie. Went to overtime. No one could score. We tied. That's the worst thing in the NFL. That's the thing I hate the most about the NFL. The NFL needs to change that rule, the tie. Oh, my God. But I think that, going in this game, I'm really excited for this game, and then here's another reason why, is because of who's the starting quarterback for the Colts. God, the thunder is so loud, guys. The Colts starting quarterback tomorrow is Sam Ellinger, and I think Texas college football is very divided. But you got a lot of Longhorns fans in the state of Houston, or the state. In the state of Texas. And a lot of Longhorns fans in Houston. And even me, I'm a Longhorns fan. I love Sam Ellinger as a for his time here. When I started watching the Longhorns football, he was a freshman. Watched him all the way till his senior year. So personally, as a Texans fan, I would not be upset if he just came in there tomorrow and kicked our ass tomorrow, because I want to see him do good. I've always believed in Sam, and I know he's struggled a little bit in his first 3 starts in the NFL. Maybe he's had 2 or 3 starts, whatever he's had. I think he's had 2 starts, and he came in earlier in the game last week, but did all right. I know he hasn't done that great, but I want to see him succeed. I've always believed in Sam as a quarterback, so would not be upset if he just whooped us tomorrow. We get the first overall pick, and I get to see one of my favorite teams, my favorite college football team's old quarterback dominate. So yeah, as a Longhorns fan, I'm really excited for Sam tomorrow to get a start to end the season. Injuries wise, it's just same old for the Texans. IR injuries with Brandon Cooks, with Nico Collins and all those other guys. Stingley's still in the IR. Just a bunch of IR injuries for the Texans. So I'll go over the final injury report for the Texans tomorrow in my pregame. And the same thing for the Colts. I'm not going to go over their injuries right now. I don't even have that on me. So yeah, what do the Texans need to do this game? Me personally, I don't want us to win tomorrow. I want us to lock up this number 1 overall pick. I think that's the best idea. Also, possibly, if the Colts were to win, they could go to the 6th overall pick. Right now, they're at 5. We're kind of trying to stop a Colts team that's in our division from getting C.J. Stroud, and instead dealing with Will Levis, which I don't think Will Levis is going to be that good. I think C.J. Stroud will be a really talented quarterback, and I would not like the Texans to face C.J. Stroud twice a year. Even though Bryce Young versus C.J. Stroud would be very interesting. Colts-Texans games would be very interesting with Bryce Young versus C.J. Stroud. But I'd rather deal with Will Levis twice a year than C.J. Stroud. So I think a loss to the Texans is the best. You're thinking about everything. Your opponent, you're thinking about the quarterback you're facing next year, going into next season against the Colts, who they have at quarterback. They have right now the 5th overall pick, could go to 6 if they win tomorrow against us. So just a lot of factors to think in. But getting into if the Texans do want to win this game, what they have to do tomorrow is just, the Colts, they're a bad offense. They're a worse offense than us, and you can't find much worse offenses than the Houston Texans. So you just got to outplay a bad offense that's worse than you when you're a bad offense. You got to play good defense, get a pick or 2. I think Jalen Petrie goes out and gets a pick tomorrow to end his amazing rookie season. Uncle Wanko needs to keep getting his sacks that he's been getting. He's been a beast in the sacks in the last 4 or 5 games. I think he'll lock up a sack tomorrow to end the season. Texans should definitely franchise tag him going into the offseason. So I just think that the Texans defense needs to be on top of their game tomorrow. It's not like they have to be like on top of it, but the Texans defense has to do some good things. The Texans defense has been I wouldn't say they were bad last week. They allowed 24 points against the Jaguars, their defense. So I would say that, really, I think that our defense has been great this year. A lot of turnovers, the Texans defense, a lot of interceptions, a lot of fumbles. I think this Texans defense has actually been, way better than this was last year. And last year it wasn't that bad. I mean, it wasn't good, and it was bad, but it wasn't horrible. But this year it's been way better, and I think this going into next season, this defense will just improve even more. So I think this defense finishes the season on a high note, whether it's a win or a loss. I think the defense gets a 1. I'm thinking a fumble and an interception for the Texans defense, and I'm going with over 2 sacks for the Texans tomorrow and a lot of tackles for loss. I think the Texans defense has its way tomorrow. I just don't think there's a lot of offense for this Texans offense tomorrow. I think this defense leads the Texans away to get the win eventually. Even though I don't want the Texans to win tomorrow just for draft capital reasons, I think the Texans will get the win just because of, the defense and how bad the Colts offense is. So ultimately, my final score prediction, I'm going with a really low-scoring game. I'm going with the Texans winning this one 16-10. I think the offense does some decent things, but I think a lot of, the contribution for the Texans is the offense. I mean, the defense. I think, maybe the Texans have a couple points scored tomorrow where the defense produced the drive. I mean, maybe you get an interception and the offense doesn't have to drive much up the field, or gets the offense set up at like the 40 or something like that. So I think that the defense will set up the offense tomorrow for the Texans to get the win. I think this one does come down to the wire. I think the Texans win it. And ultimately, like I said, I'm okay with the Texans getting the second overall pick unless the Bears trade it. Because if the Bears trade it, I'm assuming whoever's trying to trade for whoever's trying to trade for the first overall pick wants Bryce Young, because there's no point of trading for the first overall pick because you're trying to block the Texans from getting Bryce Young. So, I as long as the Bears don't trade for that pick, I'm okay with the Texans having the second overall pick. I don't think that's a problem. It's not like the Bears are going to draft a QB. But, moving on with the game, I'm going to be on here tomorrow to do a pregame, final injury report, final prediction. And yeah, for both teams, by the way, with injury report, I think this should be a really bad, low-scoring game. We're going to have definitely more entertaining football tomorrow, but I got the Texans finishing this awful, for hopefully forgettable season down the drain with a win. And honestly, to be honest with you guys, even though I would like to see the Texans lose this game for draft capital reasons, I also don't think it's the worst idea to finish the season off on a high note. That could be, a capital thing, for the Texans, going into next year. If you look and how you finish the year could be very well for the Texans. If you look at even if you got to win against the Colts, starting week 1 or preseason next season, you look at that last game, you got a W after such a hard season with so much struggle. So maybe a win could be the best things for the Texans tomorrow. But I guess we just have to get a win. Either we just got to root for the Bears to win like crazy, or we're going to have to deal with the fact of the first overall pick not belonging to the Houston Texans, which I'm okay with. Really am. That's it for the video, guys. Let me know what you guys think about the Texans game going into tomorrow. My final prediction is the Texans get a win. Defense carries 16-10, over 2 sacks. I'm going right now with 1 interception and 1 fumble, but I wouldn't be surprised with 2. Sorry, Sam Ehlinger. Still loved you as a Longhorn. Just the Texans defense has been good this year. Their secondary has been good, and Sam Ehlinger, what I've seen from him in his 2 starts and 3 quarters of last week against the Giants, he just really has just not. He's not been able to be productive, but hopefully that changes, because I want Sam to do the best, because he is a good quarterback. But that's it for the video. Hope you guys enjoy. Let me know your thoughts, and let's go Texans. Can't wait for tomorrow.